I am Dr. Edwina, a licensed psychologist in South Florida in the Broward County area. I am CEO of Bell Psychological Services, which is a private practice, and we provide comprehensive psychological services to both children and adults in the local community. The majority of my patients are people of color, although not exclusively. I think that we as a people are really starting to recognize the importance of making mental health a priority. I think this is vital and important in all communities, but in particular the communities as it relates to people of color, because it enables us to really deal more effectively with the obstacles that we face. Personally, it's my mission and goal to increase mental health awareness in the community as it relates to Black and brown people. When I was a child, I wanted to be a pediatrician. You have to understand, I grew up with a father who was a general surgeon for 35 years. My father, Dr. Edwin Hamilton, has been a pillar in the Black community for many years, oftentimes standing in the gap for the marginalized and addressing healthcare disparities in the community, people of color community. While still in the health field, I've decided to focus on mental health. I changed my mind when I took an introductory course to psychology in high school. And I was very intrigued by how the brain works and human behavior and development. Needless to say, though, I can say unequivocally that I have no regrets in terms of my decision. Over the years, I've been very fortunate to work with a diverse patient base encompassing all genders, races, and ages. One of my personal goals is to increase mental health awareness as it relates to people of color in the community. I'm very compassionate about my work as a psychologist, and I'm dedicated. So why did I decide to write Moments of Mindfulness? Well, while applying for internship, this was around 1996, I secured an interview at the University of Miami Counseling Center, which actually turned out to be my first choice after having interviewed at different other internship sites. During the interview, one of the staff psychologists asked about my goals and if I could do one thing, what would that be? Without hesitation, I said, one day I'm going to write a book. He seemed taken aback and asked me, well, what are you going to write about? I did not know at the time. However, I reiterated and knew without a doubt that one day I'm going to write a book. Fast forward a couple years ago, the content of my book became clear. Within my practice, I started to know various patterns and nuances as it relates to my patients. And it really struck me as strange that I had multiple patients presenting with the same exact issues in one given day. It was at this time that I began to track and document the similarities among my patients. And it was from this personal documentation, as well as my experience as a mother, that I derived the vignettes for my book, Moments of Mindfulness. I knew that it was not happenstance, and I also knew that this would allow me to do something that I've always wanted to do, and that was to reach a broader audience outside of the walls of my practice. Okay, I'm going to read an excerpt from my book, Moments of Mindfulness, and it's called Oxygen Mask. I have come to believe that caring for myself is not self-indulgence. Caring for myself is an act of survival. Audre Lorde. Should the cabin lose pressure, oxygen masks will drop from the overhead area. Please place the mask over your own mouth and nose before assisting others. If you have ever flown, you know that the flight attendant reviews the safety procedures prior to takeoff. You are informed that if there is a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen masks will drop from the overhead area. You are asked to put your own mask on first before assisting others. My initial thought was how selfish, insensitive, and inconsiderate. Take care of your needs first. After much thought, it made perfect sense. How can you be there for others when your own needs are not met? Nonetheless, this is a common problem that impacts many lives. When you're accustomed to putting others' needs first, it's very challenging to begin the process of even considering yourself, let alone put your needs first. In working with patients over the years, there is a recurring problem when we begin to talk about self-care as an integral part of our day-to-day living. More times than not, the question is asked, how do I deal with the guilt? My answer is typically the same. I encourage them to focus on the self-care, not the guilt, and the feelings of guilt will eventually go away. And they do. Are you exhausted, overburdened, and stressed? Do you often feel like you have nothing left to give? Could it be that you neglected to put your own mask on? As a mom, you are pulled in many directions, especially if you're a working mom. Life can become so busy that you find yourself indifferent to your own personal wants and needs. When was the last time you put on your oxygen mask first? If you can't remember, it's long overdue. For me, putting on my oxygen mask looks like taking a bike ride, reading a book, listening to one of my favorite tunes, or just sitting and doing nothing. What about you? My only suggestion, don't wait until emotional burnout lessens or feelings of guilt disappear before you put on your oxygen mask. It may be too late. Identify one thing you can do today and put on your oxygen mask. Do that one thing today. Moments of Mindfulness is based on a compilation of my work with patients over the years and my personal experience, not only as a mother, but also a wife and a daughter. The vignettes are 31, representing each day of the month, and each vignette begins with a quote and ends with a call to action, which aligns with the vignette's content. The topics are varied, ranging from how to honor yourself in relationship and how to deal with stress effectively. Moments of Mindfulness, I believe, reminds us to take care of ourselves from an emotional standpoint as we do so well in taking care of our physical health. And although I have written Moments of Mindfulness from a personal perspective as a mother, it's really a practical tool that can help men, women, young adults, and families, not only individually, but as a collective, cohesive unit. Whether you've been on a journey of wellness for some time now, or you're just now getting started, I do believe that Moments of Mindfulness can help you to evolve into being your best self. What am I asking? I'm asking for you to purchase Moments of Mindfulness at Amazon or Barnes & Noble after you've read it, to gift it to someone else. And if you'd like a signed copy, I'm asking that you directly email me at contact@mindmanagementmoment.org. That's contact@mindmanagementmoment.org. To all the esteemed authors and participants, I wish you all the best. I am Dr. Edwina Bell. Thank you.